time, don't take these signs for granted. Heart of man once called well wicked. Why the earth a brother bring so much privilege? Like the slaughter of the innocent, well instigated. Them one don't know good youth and free the wicked. While organized white collar crime, it a get big. In a shots and slums are where my people live. Not by reason of choice, a lack of objective. Economical strength, half and less privilege. Money making Jamaicans thinking constructive. Them say, man a rude, but we no business. Police and rude boy cannot be friend. You say out the road and give them pure problem. Lord diggity and you're blazing red. Guns and bombs and bullets, now them get wanted. I'm a Gideon, earth and run red. Signs of the time, don't take this stuff for granted. I swear, as I Congo flourish like Maine, them kill out most good youth, few soldiers remain. Oh, what a massacre that Green Bay of fear. Oh, what a massacre Coral Gardens of fear. I never did it, Selassie make me hear. Demonstrating, demanding them share. Oh, what a massacre, cold-blooded raw. Lynch mob killings and martial law. A result of the deceiving deception you plant. Slaughter the prophet and instill who no want. Oh, what a slaughter of Bob Marley. Oh, what a slaughter of the one Peter Tay. Oh, what a slaughter of Garnet J. Listen to the voice of the youth, don't you be. Police and rude boy cannot be free. You say out and run and give them fear problem. God, you giddy and you're burning red. Guns and bombs and bullets down.
I'm here. I saw someone there who was a victim of crime, and which I could remember. Because many persons standing or sitting here tonight would have suffered in one way or another. Everybody asking why, Alexander, why, Alexander, why, Alexander, why? I told them to pay attention. Listen to different leaders, and you choose the one that is aligned with your vision and your dreams of a better Trinidad and Tobago. A scenario. If while you're home, some men, 5 in number, 6 in number, attack you at your home, what we call home invasions now, and you can do nothing but to wait and hope that you survive another minute. And because my colleagues want to come, want to respond, and cannot, because we do not have the resources available to us. That must change.
As we are about to walk through the constituency, we intend to bring a model constituency. After all of this, we ask them to go, we don't want no confrontation with anybody. All we want to do is to share love. That's what we want. So it's love and protection. Protection and love. That's what we're rolling with today. That's what we're rolling out for the people. Let them know that we are going to bring this community a safe community. Yeah? To the full.
We are in electoral district tonight of Northeastern
Congratulations, Minister. You want to tell us what's your first stop for Tobago?
My first stop for Tobago is in Tobago. We already have two of the finest police officers that Trinidad and Tobago can offer you. I'll meet them, see what they need, what extra I can assist with. But Tobago is one of our primary concerns. It's where the tourists used to come in, and we don't want the tourists to leave. We have to bring back everybody. Those who left Tobago must come back time and time again and bring people with you. So we intend to make Tobago totally safe.
Topping the news this evening, detained prison supervisor Guada's legal team has called for a full investigation into Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander following claims of unauthorized meetings with alleged gang leaders ahead of the 2025 general election. Guada alleges that his detention was part of a personal vendetta and has threatened legal action against Minister Alexander. His attorney, Crystal Primus, has written to Police Commissioner Alyssa Guevara stating that Alexander's actions raise serious concerns about the integrity of the Ministry of Homeland Security. The letter requests records of all authorized visits by Alexander to the maximum security prison during the period in question, including while on vacations through the Freedom of Information Act. Primus claims that Alexander met with incarcerated gang leaders outside official channels without legal authorization from the then acting Commissioner of Police or the Commissioner of Prisons. These meetings allegedly discussed pre-action support and potential contracts in the event of electoral success. The legal team is urging the police service to investigate, citing the public's right to transparency and accountability.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Trust that you all are well and in good spirits. Social issues, it seems to never be an end to it for Trinidad and Tobago. It seems like we will never rise above the challenges that are presenting themselves on a daily basis, especially where our government is concerned and their governance. It's a continuing topic that we're never going to let rest, because when we have situations like CPEP, now there's a new dilemma with ex-CPEP contractors protesting over unpaid fees. That is in the news. It's here right now. It's what's being dealt with at the moment. But however, you're not hearing the government giving any heads up as to what's going on. We also have the issue that Ato Bolden plus the NAAA, which is NAAA, offers against more or less to be able to revive the track and field system in the country, which would help to motivate and stimulate a lot of the youths. So sporting activities, extracurricular activities is important holistically for an individual's development. We still can't forget what is happening down on the South Land with the Venezuelan ships moving in and out of the waters, as well as the American ships that are there hoping to wage war on Venezuela. That's a different topic for another day. We're not even going to go back into that right now. We're hoping that the developments does not include us as part of the collateral damage. Yeah. We're also looking at the Tanko pilot bill to strengthen the BIR power and crack down on financial crime. We have a lot of that going on. We as much as we think there are blue collar crime, there's a lot more white collar crime, and that is simply because the politicians in this country hands are in cookie jars, all of them, not just the UNC, PNM, all of them. Their hands are in cookie jars. So they refuse to tap in to the resources that will deal with the white collar crime. White collar crime becomes under control, we should be able to minimize and decrease the blue collar crimes, or black collar crimes. However you want to wait, either which way, it's going to present itself with the same issues. Overall, holistically, we have the headlines of our Homeland Security Minister alleged meetings. Yeah. And it's the PNM that's demanding a probe into the so-called alleged meetings that Roger Alexander has been having with inmates. Yeah. You all would have heard me mention in times back that there are a lot of people that are doing time for crimes that they did not commit simply because they were bought out to serve that time on behalf of someone else with promise to take care of themselves or their family. But when you see that all that glitters ain't gold, you would have a change of heart. Now, that in itself would have had, if that is the issue regarding his interviews, because how would you tell me, right, a former superintendent or acting superintendent will take time off of his busy schedule with all the crimes on the outside, will go inside to have a meeting or to have dialogue with inmates? Is it that you're trying to gather intel? The inmates now have to, we have to wonder, if it is that you're trying to gather intel, then people on the outside had to watch their back. They had to know who they're trusting. So there's a lot of scenarios revolving around what his communication with inmates would have been about. But here's what is the ironic thing, right? The overly ironic thing to me is the same government that just came out of office had this man under their authority as a superintendent. You're telling me the Ministry of National Security at that time was unaware of his actions? His senior officers were unaware of his actions? How is it left for an inmate now to speak out? And I'm telling you, the conversations would not have been one that would have been likely. It would have been simply because the inmate is not feeling either safe or secure. It's a combination of, in probably whatever dynamics would have transpired amongst them. and decided to raise the alarm on it. But how could you tell me that the PNM government, because I am absolutely not happy with what they did for the last 10 years. I am not. I was never happy with the 2 years they shut down Trinidad and Tobago when there was no other Caribbean country or any other country in the world that suffered a closure that long because of COVID. Even the ones who had way more death tolls from COVID than we did. So it's besides me to understand where do they get off trying to present a high and mighty disposition in a situation like this. Because then it tells me that even them and all ain't in a position to govern this country adequately in the best interest of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to create an economic portfolio that we can stand on, that will generate an income, stabilize our economy, because what we are not paying attention to is a lot of our crimes are crimes of opportunity. But then you will tell people stand their ground because you don't want that blood on your hands, because you don't want to do the job that you're being paid for. So you want to pass the buck to the next man. And stupid, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say stupid, that's the wrong word to use. But unsuspecting citizens will buy into that and run for a firearm. And yet still, we have the authorities not doing what they're supposed to do to protect us, to keep us safe, and to allow us to hold our heads high in the pride that we have for our country, Trinidad and Tobago. Because the only good thing we can talk about right now is that we have good food. And we're the #1 carnival in the world. No matter who try it, who doing it, we still stand above them and beyond what their expectations of carnival could present. A little skimpy here and there, but at the end of the day, we still only have that. And well, we have the steel pan, which is still up in the air because they're letting that fade away and die as if we weren't the one to establish that. Imagine you go to another country and they're playing pan more than we are here. You're going through the airport, they're playing pan. You're on a cruise ship, they're playing pan. And you're wondering what's going on. So why are we allowing them to silence us? Why are we allowing them to erase us? Why are we allowing the governments to do that? Are we so tied up in politics and party and not seeing the bigger picture pertains to our needs? Whether it's our basic needs or our hierarchy of needs, it is still required that the governments that are given charge present themselves in the best performance that they can to allow our country to be sustainable. The lives of many can be sustained. It have people who would tell you outrightly they are not going to work an 8 to 4, Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday for dog money because that can't do anything for them. So when I'm speaking about a crime of opportunity, is people like this decide that, you know what, I go take a little chance here, I go take a little chance there, and by the time you know it, they're in the system. Not by desire. Right? So we need to understand that crimes of opportunity, that's a little fuzzy though. Yeah, but the crimes of opportunity is only going to be those which would be a spontaneous, unplanned offense, something that you're not thinking of. It happened because you would be in a need. You may have a need and someone will I mean, we watch movies all the time. Like the other evening, I watched one, this old man, he could be about 70 something. I think he was like Trafficker or something was the name of the movie on Netflix. And he was moving guns and drugs from state to state, unsuspected, simply because, one, of his age, but two, he got into it because he had a need for the money. Every went in was because somebody presented and in his family a need for the money. And this is what happens with a lot of people. They're not intending to commit crime, but it's in their face. And when they're looking at the fact that they're between a rock and a hard place, they would prefer to sledge down the wall, because they might not be able to move the rock. But guess what? Government in, government out, because of politics and party, no one pays attention to the fact that the citizenry are not being met by the needs for a government to do what they are supposed to do. But I might have some good news, because as far as I understand, the current government listening to the medical tourism, and they're feverishly trying to revamp the Hoover Hospital, as well as complete what has to be finished in the Port of Spain Hospital. And hopefully we should see some traction there. I didn't get paid for it, so I want to put it out there that you'll be aware that it started here. The terminology was coined by Oral Saunders. The plan itself was developed, well, the ideology of it was by myself, and it was further developed by our team. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have some good news, because Trinidad and Tobago is not without resources. We are out of the resources that we used to depend on, but we still have resources that we can tap into and revamp our country. Reposition ourselves on the map, because we look right now like dogs, especially where we have a prime minister that seems to not be sober when she open her mouth and speak. As honorable as she would be, this is what seems to be the issue, because you're literally putting target on the backs of your citizens willingly. There are news going around just the other day, like this weekend on here, I saw another article. I think Ernest and I might have shared that with you. This individual was pleading for us to put more defense on the waters, because they're indicating that Russia and one or two others are coming, right, to join the battle that the US want to wage on Venezuela. Because as I mentioned, there's a platform in the Maracaibos that China placed there. That is their invested interest. China is in bed with Russia and Africa. And the alliance is just growing. And he is pleading with us to strengthen our borders. But at the end of the day, you will bring a sword to a gunfight. Many of us might have watched Kung Fu back in the day. And if we had individuals trained like that, maybe a sword would have been ideal. But in this particular scenario, this is a Western midday in the open corral, right? So, and at this point, I'm not even sure if his info is more correct than mine, because what I got is that when Miss Prime Minister leaves the country in a day or two, I think somewhere around the 26th, so maybe 2-3 days, it is with the go-ahead for the US to strike on Trinidad and blame it on Venezuela. That's what I got. So when I saw his broadcast, I was like, I don't know who information is more correct at this point. But either way, I don't want to be there. That's the only thing I sure about. And I'm wondering if these citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are understanding and willing to be there to allow somebody to speak for you. Because what I can tell you is Mrs. Prasad Bisesa does not speak for me. She doesn't speak for me. Especially when it's to put my life, my family's life on a platter to distribute. When we don't have no business being a part of what's going on. This is not a civil rights war. It's not a genocide. It's none of these things that demand our input or interaction. This is a situation as you sit and watch, and whoever comes out triumphant, that is where your loyalty will lie, simply because we do not know who will win, whether it's USA or Venezuela. And if the artillery that is coming in Venezuela is coming from Russia and China, hey, I don't even want to be a fly on the wall. I don't even want to be a fly on the wall. So if there is any truth to us selling out the country, I shudder to think what else we have to look at. Because everybody asking, when is our budget going to read? Up to now, a date wasn't given. And if I'm mistaken, whoever know of a date, please say. Because the last time I checked, a date wasn't given. You're going to New York for a short space of time, just for a conference. You must know when you're coming back. Your Ministry of Finance must be working. So how you don't know when you're going to read a budget? We don't know. You say it has no money. For the past 20 years, we don't have no money. So we understand that. So you all are just irking me, disturbing my spirit. Because every time this woman takes office in any form or fashion, she does not have good intentions. I'm not saying the party doesn't. The formation of the government doesn't. Most of the ministers doesn't. I am saying for her track record, this is what it is. Now we have another video we want to throw at you all. I want you all to pay attention to it, because I want to hear what your recommendations are, what your suggestions are, and if you have questions.
Sun beats down on the Cedros shoreline. Wooden boats rock gently on the water. Gulls wheel above and the air smells of salt and fish. At first glance, it's a calm, quiet scene. But for fishermen here, the risks beneath these waters are greater than ever. We set out from the Cedros shoreline aboard Clay Chicory's small wooden pirogue. The sun blazes overhead, casting a silvery glare across the calm sea. The waters look serene, but for those who know these shores, the danger is never far away. Chicory, who has fished these waters more than 40 years, scans the horizon carefully. He says the usual concerns of pirates and smuggling are now compounded by geopolitical tensions. In early September and just last week, U.S. forces struck Venezuelan-linked boats in nearby waters, destroying vessels and killing several people.
But take a little step backward. So what you check with Venezuela and Trinidad, I've been cautious.
He says many Cedros fishermen are staying closer to home, especially after a warning from Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who said fishermen caught in Venezuelan waters would be on their own.
You have to do that. You have to take caution, because at the end of the day, you get something from the government and helping you. You understand? So you have to make sure you be safe.
Cedros, Icacus, and Moruga have long been hotspots for piracy, with fishermen reporting armed boardings, stolen catch, and sometimes violent encounters. Trinidad's proximity to Venezuela is just 11 kilometers at the closest point, also makes Cedros a key route for drug and gun smuggling, as well as for Venezuelan migrants escaping economic collapse. According to the United Nations, over 44,000 migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers are now living in Trinidad and Tobago, the highest per capita in the Caribbean. Since the U.S. drug operation, the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard has stepped up its patrols. Villagers say the Coast Guard vessel is seen more often, with patrols covering the entire peninsula. Solomon Smart, another veteran we found on the water, said the escalation between the U.S. and Venezuela has not directly affected him, but he acknowledged the level of uncertainty that exists.
Different things. Everything else normal, it was gone wrong. Do our problem right.
For these fishermen, the difference between a safe day and a dangerous one could just be a few lines on a radar. Otto Carrington, CNC3 News.
Okay. So Trinidad and Tobago, the livelihood of individuals on that side of Trinidad and Tobago is being affected. People are fearful. I'm not living down on that end, so I don't know what it looks like in the night or during the day from their point of view, right? But I could imagine from sitting in Toco Tobago and sitting in Cedros looking out from the water, you see
Sun beats down on the Cedros shoreline. Wooden boats rock gently on the water, gulls wheel above, and the air smells of salt and fish. At first glance, it's a calm, quiet scene. But for fishermen here, the risks beneath these waters are greater than ever. We set out from the Cedros shoreline aboard Clay Chicory's small wooden pirogue. The sun blazes overhead, casting a silvery glare across the calm sea. The waters look serene, but for those who know these shores, the danger is never far away. Chicory, who has fished these waters more than 40 years, scans the horizon carefully. He says the usual concerns of pirates and smuggling are now compounded by geopolitical tensions. In early September and just last week, U.S. forces struck Venezuelan-linked boats in nearby waters, destroying vessels and killing several people.
But take a little step backward. See what the real threat with Venezuela and Trinidad, I've been cautious.
He says many Cedros fishermen are staying closer to home, especially after a warning from Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who said fishermen caught in Venezuelan waters would be on their own.
We have to do that. We have to be cautious because at the end of the day, you forget yourself in the government and helping you.
so sitting in Cedros, you are able to see Venezuela. I could imagine how frightening it is when you, especially in the night, if there's any type of fire activities being conducted, any bombing up of people, vessels, or whatever be the case, to have that view from there. And then your livelihood, your bread and butter, going out there on a daily basis as a fisherman would be daunting. for the individual who has to go out there to find, well, to fish, for them to bring in an income to feed their families. And then we have the Prime Minister talking all kind of reckless nonsense under the influence, because you can't be sober. You cannot tell me that you are sober-minded speaking that. And if you are, then I think age catch up to you. I honestly believe as 1 out of the 2, it can't be anything else. For you to make reckless statements like that, and you saying when UNC, when everybody will, yet still you doing things like this, that's the best you can do. And nobody in the corner, not another, every other prime minister under CARICOM stand neutral. None of them want to ban with you, with the foolish decision you are making for your country. They refuse to. Guyana have their invested interests because they want to be able to go ahead and do what they want to do with the oil. So that is Guyana and Venezuela. And if they side with the US, that is a love triangle there that could see for itself. They don't need no help from Trinidad. They don't need any right angles in that equation. Leave the people, let them handle their business. That's a three-way call. Long time phone, three-way call. Not conference calls like we have now. You could add everybody. Leave the people business alone. But yet still you will have the foolish citizens not studying country, not studying their lives, not studying their rights. Oh gosh, let the woman, what we do with that? Is a target on our back she's put in. All you're so blind that all you will not see. Because a blind man in wooden glasses in front of a brick wall, a bag on his head, and he undercover seeing that and not running into it. Who is we? Who are we that we feel we are a pawn on the chessboard? And if you know anything about pawns, you know they're easily sacrificed. But we want to go and gallivant on that chessboard. We want to go and gallivant on that chessboard. All you want this woman with her reckless behavior to speak for all you. I tell you, it is all in the atmosphere that this woman gave the go ahead. I don't know my story, whose story, which story is the right one, but at the end of the day, if it's in the atmosphere, it means it had to have been said. It might not end up exactly the way it was said, but it meant it had been said. I just want Venezuela to know this woman do not speak. The sober citizens, every week we come. It is about, there are key performance indicators that tells you we have a good government. Right now, I'm willing to switch with Barbados. I'm willing to switch with St. Vincent. I'm willing to switch with any other prime minister that making sense and doing the best for the country. Because Barbados looking good. St. Vincent ain't doing too bad. The only reason why they're doing bad now is because this war that they want to rage here, it means that people don't want to come for vacation and thing again. That's the only issues they having. But for Barbados, who ensured that they became a hub for transit, they are still functioning fine. And we're allowing this idiot to speak for us. Well, I'm saying she don't speak for me. No time, no how, nowhere. Especially when you have ministers. And at the end of the day, she always make bad decisions. The last time she was in government, she put a set of monkeys there. I don't know what other word to use, but not meaning that they look like monkeys. I just meaning they foul play, fools, whatever you want to put it as. Simply because you did not put capable people. And your merry men start falling off the bandwagon swiftly. Who you didn't dismiss had to take the leave.
Do you have any information that India
And
has
look,
any...
we already have Roger Alexander being positioned to be questioned, to be probed as to his conduct as a minister, prior to being a minister, interacting with criminal elements. What was your reason? Was that part of how you bought the votes that you got? What was the reason? Because we know a lot of promises was made to the underworld. But once you all weren't keeping all your promises, they started to have an upheaval. People not talking about that. But at the end of the day, I don't care what you do in the past. I want to know what you're doing in the present. Trinidad and Tobago have to be fixed. The people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve a country that could function, one that could prioritize them, meaning that your basic living standards could be met easily. You don't have to work 2-3 jobs or consider doing anything illegal. Listen. Right? And let me ask this question. Is it because you create such an unease in the underworld that you didn't know how to control it, that you decide to issue a SOE, a state of emergency? Let me know. Because it makes no logical sense. Let me understand. I still ain't in favor of PNM asking the question to probe him, because it meant they had a right was to do that while he was a superintendent under their authority. But in the meantime, in between time, let us be real. Was that the reason? The state of emergency, was that the reason? Because the underworld no longer happy with what you all are presenting, what you all are offering, and they decided to kick up? They get the
our candidate for the constituency of Puna, Mr. Roger Alexander.
I'm here. I saw someone there who was a victim of crime, and which I could remember. Because many persons standing or sitting here tonight would have suffered in one way or another. Everybody asking why, Alexander, why, Alexander, why, Alexander, why? I told them to pay attention. Listen to different leaders, and you choose the one that is aligned with your vision and your dreams of a better Trinidad and Tobago. A scenario. if while you're home, some men, 5 in number, 6 in number, attack you at your home, what we call home invasions now, and you can do nothing but to wait and hope that you survive another minute.
News this evening, detained prison supervisor Guada's legal team has called for a full investigation into Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander following claims of unauthorized meetings with alleged gang leaders ahead of the 2025 general election. Guada alleges that his detention was part of a personal vendetta and has threatened legal action against Minister Alexander. His attorney, Crystal Primus, has written to Police Commissioner Alyssa Guevara stating that Alexander's actions raise serious concerns about the integrity of the Ministry of Homeland Security. The letter requests records of all authorized visits by Alexander to the maximum security prison during the period in question, including while on vacations through the Freedom of Information Act. Primus claims that Alexander met with incarcerated gang leaders outside official channels without legal authorization from the then acting Commissioner of Police or the Commissioner of Prisons. These meetings allegedly discussed pre-action support and potential contracts in the event of electoral success. The legal team is urging the police service to...
So is it that his visits to the prison inmate was official? Because if it was official, where is the recordings that will support that? That's one. Also, if it was official, where was the attorney for the inmate? Yeah. There's a lot of questions in my head, a lot of things just popping up because I have a okay understanding of the law. So if what you did wasn't official, what was your unofficial capacity being there? What was your conversation about? I have a problem with PNM saying probia, but at the end of the day, who garden the garden? Because you are now Minister of Homeland Security. And when she chose ministers, and I saw where she put you, there was comments that I made regarding that. Because I knew it was to keep the underworld quiet. And who knows why that is a notion? Who knows Enough people, even who outrightly said, who are die-hard UNC support, they voted since they know themselves. Was like, why she put him there? I know him X, Y, Z. A lie after all who say it and all who know. Because you can't doubt the evidence of a man's eyes. Because if you have to put up a list of known individuals, you're topping that list. So what was your business in the prison speaking to inmates? You're an evangelist? Because that's the only other reason I could think of you inside there having conversation. You went to baptize somebody. They were ready to convert. That's the only thing I am trying to understand. What is the reason? But if the people of this country do not realize the problem in race, because it's all the way they have to hang, it have the 1%, and on outside of the 1%, all of we they consider black. All of we they consider poor. That is why they make it to happen. That is the poor and dirt poor, and the rich and filthy rich. It ain't no middle class. That was long time thing. When the Queen and them still had a little hole and invested interest in the country. After that, when they had full autonomy to do what they wanted, They massacre this place. And if all you still want to run after party, and we have a prime minister who wants to speak for us and put us on the fire, in front of the firing squad, US and Venezuela, because on one side they're saying she gives sanction, and the other one she keeps giving pecan, and them only getting riled up. I want them to understand that this woman is jailbait. Don't let this woman cause all you to end up in international jail. Yeah? They had to answer to international authorities. She's jailbait. And her merry men the same. Last time around, she had a set of people that was not a good, they weren't upstanding, upright citizens. And the color started to show very early up. Anil Roberts. And now we're looking at Roger Alexander. So she don't have a good track record. Never did. And may never. So I want, if all you have questions, if all you have comments, call the numbers. It's up on the screen. 333-2126. Call the numbers. Write your comments and let us discuss it. I don't have all the answers. But I could tell you from on the international spectrum, they're talking about us and we're looking dumb. We're looking dumb. Believe me or not. But I out of here in the next couple of days. So I could tell you we're looking dumb. Good night, caller. We have a caller. Good night.
Okay, well, I hear
thanks, Miss
you
Arena.
talking
How are
on
you?
the
How are you keeping?
situation there with our next door neighbor. Well, you know, I could talk about that. I'm listening to you, but it seems as though you ain't getting everything, that you're just getting what they're bringing out. It have a lot more, a lot more. You know, if you look into the Venezuelan news, because you say you could talk Spanish, so if you look into Venezuelan news, you would hear a lot more of what these ministers saying about the lady, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the prime minister. Now, I do a lot of
but
research.
This is what I'm telling you. They're looking dumb.
They're looking what? What you said?
No, we're looking dumb, and our government looking dumb on the international forum. That's how we're looking.
Yeah, we know that. But what I'm saying is if you research anything, and as much as you say you could talk Spanish, if you notice or hear anything in the Venezuelan news about what they're saying, apart from what the news here giving us, mainstream media ain't giving us everything. You understand? So I'm advising you that you could look there and you will get the full feel of the thing. Now I will tell you this part. Where they going in the Gulf of Paria there, right? I heard someone saying on another talk show that the man is afraid to go where the vessels are in the Caribbean Sea. But he was there in the Caribbean Sea doing military exercise for 3 days on an island called Ochila. If you get a map and put it up, you will see where Ochila is. It's close to Creosote. And these vessels for the U.S. out by Creosote, by the ABC Islands. You think you could put up a map? I don't like to talk without map.
What
People
we will
need
try to
understand.
do, I'm not sure when I soon be able to pull up a map for Ms. Arima.
Well, I go try and see.
We may
Let
not be
people
able
see and
to.
they will understand. Just put them
But
up with
people
Margarita
tried.
Island because Ochila is a very small island. Venezuela have several islands out there, all by Margarita. The ABC Islands, it have Ochila. On the eastern coast in Sucre and Swategi have a lot of islands where people go to have, little excursion and sea bathe. So this is why they're upset about the bombings, because there's a touristic state and Swategi and Sucre, and people go there on a daily basis, but more during, the weekend. And also these people on little towns in Sucre, they do a lot of fishing. And that eastern coast by Answategi and Sucre is a lot of tourism. So this is why they draw hate for our prime minister, because it will damage the tourism industry, right? It's not just so.
The economies, yeah.
Yeah. Margarita Island is where people go to shop because it's tax-free and it's tourism there. So if you notice, most of the drugs coming out from East Venezuela. So we will go through a lot of bombings. It now starts. The first bombing took place up in Tobago side. We get wreckage out in the sea in Tobago, and then bodies wash ashore on beaches in Toco area. So in time to come, as I say, bombings will take place from that end to here. And then the people have to go there by Sucre State. Okay, I now see, and I'm talking and I wasn't watching. I now see he put up a map. But this map looking okay. You see Margarita Island, right? A little bit northwest. You would see a little island close to ABC Island. Or if he could go by, if he could get the ABC Islands, Aruba, Borneo, and Curacao. No, he nowhere there. So you see an island there by Margarita. I believe it's a white. I can't see it. It's white. I can't see the name. But that's an island there. Right? He just keeping by Margarita. He has to go in the ocean. Look, islands there. Those white patches there. Those white spots. On the left side. So you're seeing for yourself? You're seeing islands all there by Margarita. If you go out in the Caribbean, see more on the other side, you would see islands. Try and find the ABC Islands. Borneo. No, it's not there. Borneo, Curacao.
All right, so Ms. Arima, we will have to probably let Renison identify that.
Yeah, but anyhow, they went close.
So we want to wrap up tonight's show early
for the Americans, and they're doing the military exercises everywhere. Trinidadians have to understand that they're doing the military exercises everywhere, all part of the coastline. Right? It's war, and when you have a war, you have to plan and have your strategy. You have to guard all borderlines by land and by sea. So it's not to say they're coming to really attack us. Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Arima. So in and out here and there, we will have people mentioning, you say so, and you do this, and you do the other. And in my life, I've seen where I've always have to prove the things that I've done to just give people an idea that when I speak, I'm not speaking from a position of ignorance. I might not have known the entirety of whatever may be the case, but I know enough to function, right? So I just want to give you all a little view. This is me here, my name, right? That's you there. This is the Alliance Française. I don't know if you could read it good, see it good, right? That's for French. I could give for more languages, but those are the main two that I still kind of function fairly well and understand well enough, right? And everything. Yeah, so I can give you all an understanding that I didn't stop and was idly by, so that when I speak idle. Yeah. This one. Okay. Right. Just to give you all ideas, I mean, it's a whole book. A whole book. But when I tell you all something, understand it's not coming from a position of ignorance. I may not know everything, and that is why I'm always open to hear what people have to say. So when I say to you that we're sounding and looking dumb on the international markets, I am speaking especially for the countries that most of us can't understand. The other day I was in Xinjiang, and I heard some of them speaking about us. I just nodded, because even for them who hear, we're looking down too. And not us, the citizens, but the leadership that we have in the country, and we're doing nothing about it. They were speaking about our vigilance. Yeah. I could go in and out every day. I think at one point I let Renison throw up stuff, just to show that there are things going on. And when I share the information, I share it because I have a fair understanding. Why would we let this woman buy us for a fool and sell us at the same time, but without adding value to us? We worth less then. We don't worth nothing. We don't worth anything. Because if you ain't issue a budget yet, in my mind, it tells me you are not even considering that you have to come back to our country. You might be considering the ruins that might be left after. And maybe when you come back and after that, anybody around, anybody alive, you might then decide to issue a budget. But there's no way you're telling me you don't have an idea of when the budget going to be read. That alone solidifying all the whispers I hearing about. And I ain't even thinking it's fiction, believing that is facts. Because your actions speaking loudly. And we still want to get up on high horse about party and party and party. It ain't have a good one out there. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. And if you know anything, is the same thing. You know what will be the difference? Us as the citizens standing up against what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we know, and what we believe in. And saying we're not going to allow you to do what you want to do, but what we need you to do in our best interest. So I don't know, people. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I could talk till my mouth twists. We have a caller. Caller. Good
Hello,
night.
good night again. Miss Arima here.
Good night.
I want to tell you this. I don't know if you understand me and dig me real good on what I'm saying, you know. I ain't saying you don't have your language, you know, or your
No, that
languages,
wasn't for
know.
you, no. That wasn't for you.
All
That was
right,
for
let me show you
someone
something.
that
If you want
came
to
at
get
me some time back.
if you want to get real drama, let me give you a website you could go on. It's a Colombian website, right? It is NT24. You get it? Yeah,
Yes,
but
I got that.
I telling you, you could go on NT24. All right? You get it?
Yeah.
Because
NT24.
Telesur is not Colombian, is Cuban, and they're biased. So a lot of these reporters who working for the government and you know the CNC3 and TTT, they will go on Telesur. But you see that website I told you about there? Right.
Yes,
You will
zero
get
uncut
plenty information.
news.
Yes,
And
then
they're not covering them out. They're not putting water in them out to say what they want to
have
say.
it in pure Spanish. So as I told you, as you say you could talk Spanish, this is why you could go on websites like that and Impacto de Venezuela.
But I do.
Okay?
I do.
Then it have Beneficio, Venezolano de Televisión. You could go all there when the day comes. There's so many websites. But some, right, wouldn't give you a long story like how NT24 will give you.
Yeah, it's like
You
a
understand?
documentary on that side.
Yeah, for example, the news here told you about what Diosdado Cabello said concerning a drug bust. It had a big drug bust that the Venezuelan authorities made the other day with how much tons of cocaine, right?
Yeah,
so
this is why
Vladimir
we said that
Padrino
Venezuela
Lopez,
ain't even a player amongst the cartels. But you going after Venezuela, what is your real reason?
Right? No, it will have regime change. I will admit at the beginning, when he started moving in a certain amount of vessels, you know, I was in a little question about regime change. Due to how I look at the drugs in Colombia, because they said they're going to attack them all in Colombia and Mexico. But right now the focus is Venezuela. So due to how I just watch the drugs thing, how it going in Colombia, I believe that he really coming to fight drugs in Colombia, Mexico, and Venezuela, because these are the drugs countries here in South America, Latin America. But then when you look at it, and then he bring in more vessels. He break
because I know one of the evenings.
A nuclear submarine.
Exactly.
And
one of the evenings.
The drugs in the borderline with Venezuela and Colombia in a town they call Catatumbo.
Well, I know you would have gotten to this point at some point, and it's a good thing you got there sooner than later. Because I remember the evening when we were debating it, and I realized the direction things was going into. So I'm happy that you're seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, I know it happening. I wouldn't even bother to talk because I see it, right? We're not seeing well, I no real mistake make here with our Prime Minister, and the thing going to bust because they draw hate. They draw the line in the sun, and they hate Trinidad and Tobago. Right? So When they put
the
paramilitary
citizens are not
all where they're
understanding
putting
that.
them in the Gulf of Paria, that's it. You go out there, a message was sent. They want to tell the citizens, I am not saying anything, right? When they get it, they will understand. It's not me to bring out that. I leave in it so. Okay,
Well,
have a good night.
You too, Miss Arima. So, Trinidad and Tobago, I don't know what else to tell you all, but what I can say is that who have eyes, let them see. Who have ears, let them hear. And when you do that, stop and analyze it and process it and assess it for yourself to decide if it is you want to be collateral damage in something that has nothing to do with us, because we are sounding foolish on the international market. And I can tell you, the other day when I heard them speaking, I couldn't say nothing. Normally, I like to jump up hot and sporty and open my mouth and hit them in their own language, just to let them know their place. But at this particular time, I had to put my tail between my legs, because what they were saying is that we have an idiot for a prime minister. And I highly agree with them, because if it is she's not sober, it means that her mental capacity is diminished for her age, and she needs to be benched. All right, but there isn't much else I could say. Renison, is there any comments, questions in the chats that you want to share? If not, there's not much that we could say. We literally have to let the people see for themselves. We have to just share the info we have and hope that they will see. Forgive me, but my laptop dying. So, you all do not know how exhausting it is to have to try to keep up with everything. Hello, we have a caller. I mean, if we don't have any questions or comments in the chats, we just have to leave the info as we have it here and allow the public to be the judge of what they're hearing and what they're seeing, because I cannot see how you want to be blind to the obvious. And it reached, for many of us, it reached in their garden. Like the residents of Cedros, the fishermen on that side, or any side, because what people do not understand, the way Trinidad is situated, even fishermen on the northern side, you see that north, western, south area, any part of there you go to fish as a fisherman and you come into any trouble, you're easily drifting into Venezuela water. Yeah? You're easily drifting. What's the name? Ranks of the understanding that you're making comments. So I would love for you to share your opinion. Give us a call, 333-2176. Give us a call. You could call WhatsApp. And maybe if it is you are not watching the show on your device, you could probably give us a call on Facebook as well. Yeah. We're not understanding how serious this is. And even if this, let's say, for example, Russia and China do come to the rescue of Venezuela, let's say for worst case scenario, and this whole thing die down, it will not, we will not be able to get the stigma or the, how to put it, get out of the ignorant mindset of how Trinidad and Tobago would have been in this whole situation. Because we were a pawn. And anybody knows chess. Anybody that have an idea of how chess is, you know what happens. And if you don't know chess and you know checkers, and when you want to eat on the opposing side, and you'll give up one of your own, especially if you have a king. So this is what is happening. But we choosing sides, our government is choosing sides and putting us before the firing squad. We would not live this down. CARICOM would speak about this for ages. The world would speak about this for ages because our people are CARICOM. The only time we're supposed to put our mouth in that is when CARICOM have an issue. Even in the case of Guyana is 6 or 1 1/2 a dozen of the other because they own that Latin America, South America plane, right? They're not an individual country like we are. So they are 6 or 1 1/2 a dozen of the other. However, we're not leaving them out. We're just saying that that is their battle because they have a stake in what's going on with Venezuela. We don't. Any alliance and allegiance is for us to band with the other CARICOM countries so that we can weather this storm. Put water in your mouth and mind your business. They have a whole song for that. Drink water and mind your business. No, but the thing is, what she might be drinking might look like water, but it have a kick to it. And as I say, that ain't the problem. It means she's not lucid. All right? Age catching up to her. And we all know, we all had a grandmother, because I'm watching this influencer on social media now, and she does go story time. My grandmother, we all have that grandmother. Ranks are waiting for you to get my call. That grandmother that when they reach of age, they don't put water in the mouth to talk. In their mind, they don't reach and pass. They ain't have nothing to lose. Nothing to gain. So they don't care. That is that woman's disposition if she's lucid. Right? And that's when the faculties leaving them. So I am not convinced that she's lucid or she's sober. I'm not convinced, because you will never be a prime minister of a country and speak so loosely. No matter what, you want Venezuela to take the people, all you need to do is put them on a plane. You don't have to wait for repatriation. Whenever they want to send people back to our country, they give them a one-way flight. And as a matter of fact, if they don't want them, you put them on a flight to anywhere. But no, you don't want to do that. You want to put your mouth in big people business and write a check for the rest of Trinidad to cash. Playing with fire alone? Right now, there's no fire, you know. There's explosives. When you talking about fire, we beyond fire stage here. We could use water and all that fire. The entire has explosives. In either direction is explosive. Because now that she ban allegiance with the US, should she go against them for any reason, they coming for we. You're poking Venezuela, they coming for we. And the sad thing is we have so many of them here. We have 200 and something thousand, near 300 and something thousand of them here. Stupid much? Stupid much? And you're done talking about his issues with they bringing guns and they bringing this and they bringing the other. Stupid much. Yeah? Oh, okay. Understood. Yeah? I know. No, I am saying understood. I know, but it would just be responding to him. Yeah, stupid much. You're sleeping with the enemy. That means we have so many of them in here. Remember, we can't count on the 1%. Them could jump their private jet up and plane. When we fighting to get ticket to get out of the country, them buy out all for their people. Yeah? And then when the rest of them who not from here decide they jump in the boat or the plane or whatever, and they're going back to the country, because if their country know that they want to leave, they're going to send a plane for them. It's the 5 generations Trinidadians, 6 generation Trinidadians is who have hell to catch. Excuse me, play all you don't know. How these saying does go? Playing dumb with foolishness. However it goes. Because listen, listen, you all didn't have a clue. Yeah? And you all have to understand is at this point, we like what we hate. And I'm not explaining that one for nobody. I want all you to stop and marinate on that one. You might have to go back to the Bible a little bit first to get the definition of it. But then when it's soaked into your system, it will register that you like what you hate. We need to understand that we cannot play foolish with these people. They've made bad decisions in the past. PNM too. So don't feel only on UNC. On UNC because they are who here. When it was PNM, I was on PNM too. I had a whole platform that was pulled down. But enough is enough. Politics and party aside. When we using our passport, driver's license or national ID, is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, not a citizen of UNC or a citizen of PNM. As a matter of fact, they don't even have a card we could use. When we go to vote, is any one of our national IDs we have to use. When you go to take out a loan or whatever, they don't tell you, give me a political party card. That'll help you. I don't even think you could get discounts with it anyway if you have one. Because I know at one point in time, the parties used to give you a membership card. But it was never a benefit to you. So don't feel for PNM. PNM do real crap. Public servants should have never had to give the vote to UNC in order for them to be heard. Because they were always on PNM side. The CPAP workers would have never had to be facing this situation, and all the other workers who are now out of jobs, URP, forestry, and all of these other people. Not that I'm saying that the votes should not have gone to UNC. But I was never for a straight outright vote. I was for a coalition. Because I know this woman cannot be trusted. As far as you could throw her is where you can trust her. And I could give a personal experience, but I would leave that alone. That one I go leave alone, because I know many other people experience the same thing. As much as they want to believe that she is for the people, when she was Minister of Education, she made bad decisions. Now it come to cut retail. You know what they do? They take police officers to put in school when we have MILAT officers who are trained to deal with problem children. Instead of putting them there to manage the schools that give them trouble, and probably one officer to a school, you're filtering the resources thin to put in schools. Meanwhile, on Frederick Street, on Charlotte Street, people getting robbed. Because a woman lost a bangle just the other day. She and maybe her mother or whoever the person is to her, walking right in front of where Wonderful World is. The video footage shared around, I'm pretty sure it's probably Wonderful World they get it from. If it's not them, it's the other store. And the man just woke up on she and relieve her of the extra weight that she had. Now, one like me, I always have something in my hand. So while you taking off my thing, I would have been busy directing you to Jesus. But that's me. That's not her, because she easily gave it up and went walking her merry way. I don't know what happened after they passed where the footage could have picked them up. But what you could see on the video is where the guy passed, walk up to her. He came across Queen Street. So which means he monitoring them for a while and he relieved her of it. Yeah? Because you making bad decisions one after the other. As Minister of Education, then he came to be leader of the coalition government. And left, right, and center, your ministers start to fall off. You make 1, 2, 3, 4 bad decisions that wasn't in our favor. The same public servants had to strike, had to have a shutdown. And you know what happened? When you give them the offer, you call the election early, so that way you wasn't the one that had to pay them. People that like to forget. I'm not telling you, don't give them a chance. I'm telling you, when you see the red flags, don't avoid them. Don't pretend you ain't see them. Keep them accountable. Keep them liable, because the situations that we have dealing with right now are red flags. And if you going into a relationship and off the bat, you're seeing that person doing weird, odd things and it ain't sitting well with you, and you keep ignoring it, you go and marry to face hell? Oh yeah, wake up, eh? Because we ain't smelling roses, we smelling ashes. So we had to pay close attention to the nonsense. Stop the politics and party. This had nothing to do with that. Keep these people accountable. It don't matter who they are, whether it's UNC, because we clearly already see that the promises that they've made, they are not being ethical to those promises they made. They're not. And then on top of that, they're reckless with the lives of the citizen in people business. If all you want to be at the losing end of that, then they make Marlon, they're making a mess of everything. They're not making a mess of everything, you know. The citizens making a mess of everything. Because when they do the nonsense, you're hearing all of them. Look, the people meter the other day, I think it's Saturday or whatever be the case, come up to ask Tuna Puna what they think about this, the probe that PNM wanted in Alexander. They don't believe he in anything and stuff like that. And I'm like, and first they're wicked. They only did the Indo-Trinidadians, right? So that way they would have got a biased opinion to say, well, he's African, Afro Trinidadian, and they're Indo Trinidadian, and they have faith in him. Blind, dumb, stupid faith. Blind, dumb, stupid faith. I don't know. They hear me? So I really don't know Trinidad and Tobago without to tell you again. I can talk to them. Unfortunately, I'm not intending to speak to them about this. You have eyes would see, you have ears would hear. All you want to go down that way, blind loyal, separated. Because there's nothing anyone could do to change your mind, because you would see that right in your face. They'll be serving you up on a platter and you would still be dying hard. The only how that would change is if you decide you do not want to be nobody's scapegoat. That is why I say, Marlon, the problem in them making a mess of everything is us, the people. So, they said there. Yeah. Sir Anderson, we could wrap up unless we have a caller or anybody. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The People Say, brought to you by Excel Health TT, the official supplement of the CPL.
It depends on what it is he and them they talk about, right? But I have no problem with him on that really. See, he seems to be doing his work right now.
Yes, I'm concerned, but sometimes you have to leave the past behind you and then go forward. You can't be looking back all the time, but God knows best and he knows our hearts, and maybe he did something, but if he has good intention now, we have to support him in what he do.
Right now, things looking good, man. I think the man trying. He's trying, and things looking good, On behalf of Mr. Alexander, I think he's trying, and things looking good in Tunapuna. And I hope it continue. I hope everybody, hold their hand and let me hold it so, man. Let me be nice.
No, not really. I don't think so. I think he's doing a good job, honestly, from how it was before.
What he do, that he business. Nobody are perfect. Church people, not perfect. The Hindus, not perfect. The Muslim, not perfect. What he do, everybody is a human being. Okay, sir? Nobody are perfect, darling. The perfect man is the Almighty God. Right? So, if he do his job the proper way and he do it good, and the crime getting a little thing, I just thank God for that.
No, 100% I'm not concerned. I believe that he did not meet with gang members. I believe in Roger Alexander.
The People Say.
So, firstly, I'll stand corrected because I said it was only East Indians, and when I saw the video, I only saw it from the last three women. I didn't see from the persons before. So I'll stand corrected. But at the end of the day, it is still the very same thing of blind loyalty. What they promise you, what you're hoping to get, that you're willing to put your life on the line. Because clearly these people are not loyal. So far, many have seen the things they said. They have not stick to any of it. And if I see them stick to the things that benefits the country and take them out of big people business and man the country, stop trying to put up smoke screens. Stop trying to distract the people from seeing the things that you all are not doing and doing wrong. Yeah. So this is my point, Rank. We need to understand that at the end of the day, this cannot cut it for government and governance. It cannot. That is blind loyalty to party. If you had to bash PNM for calling a pro, bash them, because I was not afraid to say I am not in favor for PNM calling it, because they had the opportunity to do it when they were in office. That is transparency. But you didn't want to do it then. You want to do it now. What? You didn't want exposure for PNM ministers who handing cookie jars, the 1%, and all of that? Only because you want to highlight that the UNC have to? We know it's all here. But we don't care if it's not affecting us. We care when it's affecting us. And if the citizens of the country decide that we're standing up, is at this time I wish we had another Abu Bakr. But guess what? We sleeping with the enemy. Them Venezuelans, they poking on the outside. She had to remember we have on the inside. And unfortunately, I don't have no water. But I go drink water and mind my business. Yeah? So, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for commenting. Thank you all for sharing, calling in. Miss Arima, faithful to the core on calling in and giving her opinions, and everybody else that are loyal to the program and keeping up with the chats, because I know some of you all mentioned that you're on work, you know. So I get that and I understand, but thanks for the loyalty. But the information we share, we need all you to share it too, because we have to. Is at this point we'd like to close the show and come to an end. All for tuning in. Hope that you all stay blessed, stay encouraged, stay inspired, and tune in next week for, hopefully we'll have another show, because we may be down but we're not out, and that is for the people from CPEP, URP, and forestry. So I want to take a program that is going to deal with their issue and how they can create a network that would be strong, that nobody could use it as a pawn and dangle thing in front of your face and yank it away when they feel like it. So I'd like to say good night. All the best, Renaissance. Good night to you as well.
Good night. Good night.